Hello, lovely learneds. Welcome back to ALifeLearned. So, not exactly sure where to start. Suppose I should apologize first for anyone who found themselves really worried about me as a result of my last video. I didn't mean to overly concern anyone. I was most certainly going through a very hard time. But the idea of that video was awareness more than anything. I had specifically stated in the video I wasn't making it looking for sympathies or for anyone to do anything for me. I was trying to share out of awareness the type of things that those in poverty deal with, and particularly with the recent inflation. I do want to point out though that the intensity of the emotional struggle I was dealing with was undoubtedly influenced by my mental health issues, my PTSD and extreme anxiety issues, and particularly the fact that, if you recall, a couple of videos ago I mentioned that I've been trying a new anti-anxiety medication, which as of late has only made things worse, because that's unfortunately often the case with a lot of psychosomatic drugs, is they tend to make it worse at first, whether it be anxiety or depression, either or, before they make it better. Apparently it's supposed to get better, but it hasn't yet. And it was at its particular worst right around that time when I was at my height of stress and anxiety, trying to find a place. But on a positive note, I did find somewhere. It's kind of expensive, but I went through my therapy and the various practices that I've learned after having that emotional difficulty with that that I shared in that video, and I calmed myself and I kept looking for apartments, and I found this one. And as I said in some of the comments to the people who have provided some very lovely support, and thank you all so much to that regard, you have been very kind, and I just can't thank you enough, because a lot of the comments that you shared were a big contributor to helping me be able to stabilize myself. That's a big thing about being mentally ill, is having a good support system to work through it, because when you're at your worst, sure, you might have learned plenty of coping mechanisms and skills and such, but it's really hard to change gears and get yourself to move into that mode when you're so deeply entrenched in the negative pathways and the things that you have more practice from earlier in your life before therapy. But anyway, I just came to the acceptance that my life might mean being hungry for the next little while again. But I've done it before, so I can do it again. That's what being poor is. Figuring it out, as many people liked to shove in my face, not so kindly. Reddit is a great place, eh? No, not anymore. But anyway, making sacrifices like that is just, I never meant to express that it's impossible, but I am trying to talk to people on a human-to-human basis that it's not realistic or fair. Fair is not the right word. It's not reasonable. There has been lots of study on how to maintain good mental health, and that good mental health leads to the most productivity in life, which means you're doing the most for society if you're at your height of positive mental health. And the way to maintain that is to be able to meet your hierarchy of needs, basically, starting with shelter and food, which is the basis that those who are impoverished cannot provide. And then after that, it moves up into, I can't remember, I think stage 2 is emotional support. And a lot of those in poverty are socially isolated because they can't participate in society because they're too poor to. So that's just like a further contribution of insecurity. And somewhere within that study of understanding, some source of relaxation or entertainment or something to calm yourself, time spent calming your brain and just enjoying life, is actually an essential part of good mental health. And I just can't count now the number of people who have told me that I just should never have that and should just deal with less food and should just deal with a rooming situation because I'm poor and that's the way it is, and if you do that then you'll get ahead, but if you don't, it's your fault, it's your problem. I understand that it makes you feel more comfortable to tell someone it's their fault that they're suicidal and that it's their fault that their life is going so bad. But if people like actually fully listened to the video I made and the things I said, I had been trying my hardest. I wasn't working because I couldn't. Otherwise that would have been something I was considering. I wasn't in school because I couldn't, and now I'm trying to go to school. But I'm not your average person. I've not been through your average experiences, so no, I can't room. And I have lost count of the number of people who have said they've either had to go so far as dropping out, or they've at the very least failed a few classes and had a very hard time in school because they had a very toxic rooming situation. And that's not something you have much control over. You just find out the person you're rooming with is decent or they're not. So with that in mind in particular, it's very ignorant to tell someone, well, that's what you can afford, so just go do it and just go deal with it. But I guess a lot of people in our society are quite naive and ignorant to what creates healthy mental health and a healthy mental state. It's hard to keep that in mind, though, as people continue to bash me and tell me that I'm wrong, because of course I always feel like I'm doing something wrong and that's why life is going the way it is. That's how I was taught, that's how I was raised, that anything that ever happens in my life is entirely and completely my fault. But that's such bullshit when you think about how interconnected we are in society. So many people like myself try their hardest, do their best, but they just don't have the social connections, or they don't have the opportunities or the privilege to get certain places and to be allowed certain opportunities to progress in life. And society just tells us it's our fault. How are we ever supposed to get anywhere if none of those limitations are addressed and we just sit in a cesspool of it's my fault? It's like a never-ending loop of self-hatred that no one cares about, and they're just like, well, you put yourself there, so live with it. No one puts themselves in a self-loathing loop. That's something that either their parents, their home environment, or their whatever they grew up in and developed in did to them. Sorry. Now I'm just tangenting. But anyway. In the end, I just wanted to reassure you guys that I'm okay. I figured it out. Things are still very stressful. I'm still having a lot of change going on. But I'm managing, and though I still deal with the suicidal ideation, I have support. I have a psychiatrist, and I know to reach out to that support if it gets bad enough. I really, really appreciate all of your support, though. You guys are absolutely excellent, and I might be vulnerable right now. I'm not going to lie about that, but I am still always here to chat. And it might take me a little bit to get back to you guys because I'm particularly busy with trying to move right now and get myself set up for school in September. But I'm still always happy to chat and relate about whatever you're going through, if you can relate. And just if you, I don't know, want some random advice that I might be able to offer, or just want someone to vent to, I'm still happy to be here. But anyways, thank you all again for just being so lovely, the lovely learneds that you are, as I say at the beginning of all my videos. You've really made a huge difference in my life, and I hope we will continue to grow this community, even though I'm going to be a bit busy with school, because you guys have just, I mean, you've provided each other some support in my comments as well, and I don't see why that's not something we should continue, you know? It's so valuable to have a group of people who think alike and are so positive and supportive. So, yeah. Just wanted to say thank you, I guess. I hope you're all doing well. Tune in sometime over June and July. We'll have a couple more videos coming out that I'm going to record soon and release over time. But it is going to be a bit slow over the summer because I'm trying to get ready for things and moving and stuff. So, yeah. Stay tuned and feel free to message or comment whenever you'd like. And otherwise, please do join me again next week or sometime soon where I try again to share a little something I've learned or experienced in life.